Hey guys, it's Jonathan from NimbleHost, and I wanted to take a few minutes and walk you through how to use the chart stack. This stack is a great way to add colorful charts and graphs to your RapidWeaver website, and it's quite easy to use. So once you've purchased and downloaded the file, I have it here, you double click to open it. It's going to get expanded and show you this window here, like so. With all stacks, you double click on the stack file here, and Stacks and RapidWeaver should automatically open and install the stack for you. Now you will want to make sure that you restart RapidWeaver after installing the stack just to make sure that it shows up in your stacks library. Once you've done that, if you open the extras folder, you'll see that we have an example site here, an example data file. And I'm going to touch on these later. So what I have here is just a regular RapidWeaver project file. It's an empty stacks page, like so. I've gone ahead and restarted RapidWeaver so that the chart stack should show up. And I'm just going to start the process of adding a chart to our website now. So here in the stacks library, we're in the NimbleHost section, and we've got the chart stack highlighted. I'm going to drag and drop this onto our page, like so. And this is what things look like. Once you click the stack on the page, you'll notice that we have our options here to the right, of which there are quite a few. You'll also see that we have some information here on the page showing you the title and the type of chart and what the data file is. And we've decided to display this information so that when you have a bunch of different stacks on the page, that you can easily tell which chart it is that you're working with or that's on a specific section of the page. So with the chart stack, once you've dragged it onto the page, the next step is you have to provide a data file. And I have one here on the desktop, like so. I'm going to just drag and drop it into the resources area. And then once you've done that, you just need to tell the chart stack about this file. And you do that in the configuration section. You'll see a field here called data file, and you just type in the name of the file, like so. Now if you've added your data file to a folder inside of resources, then you'll want to enter in that folder name here as well. And you'll just type in the folder name with a / and then the name of the file. We don't have a folder here, so we don't need this. So once you've done that, you're pretty much done all the basic stuff that you have to have for a chart to display. So I'm going to go ahead and preview this in RapidWeaver. And you'll see that we have our chart here, and it's animated, and it draws the line between the points here, like so. Well, with each type of chart that you select, in this case, the default is a line, we also have some options for each specific type of chart. In this case, we're using a line chart. So you'll see that we're showing the line. If we uncheck that and preview in RapidWeaver, you'll see that we'll get the points and not the line itself. So we click to show the line. If we want to smooth the angles, we can do that as well. And then also we can change the type of point. Let's say we wanted to do a square, for example. We preview that in RapidWeaver, and you'll see that the data points are squares and that the angles to the line drawn between the points are all curves so that it looks nice. And of course, we can do things like change the background color. That's done in the layout and general colors section. We can change the color here or make it transparent. If you'll make it transparent, you'll notice that there's a note that this may not work correctly in Internet Explorer 8. No surprise there because it's a very old browser. And then we preview and you see that we've got our transparent background, and we can even do things like removing these grid lines or just removing one axis. So let's say here we want to hide the vertical grid lines and just keep the horizontal. We'll check that option, and then we can see that we have this nice graph working just like we want it to. And of course, you can change the type of chart. We do that again in the configuration section. We change the line. We can do something like a bar graph, and then preview in RapidWeaver, and we'll see nicely animated bars showing the data points. So I'll let you play around with the rest of this on your own time using different types of charts and all the various options we have here. I did want to explain how to use, or how to create actually, the data file that you'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this data file in Numbers, and you'll see here that it's actually a very, very simple file. It's just got 2 columns. We've got a heading for each column so that we can tell which one is what the data is. And in this case, we're using text, but we could just use numbers here as well, and vice versa. And the data file that the chart stack needs has to be a CSV file. And the nice thing about that format is that any type of spreadsheet program, Microsoft Excel or the numbers program here from Apple, can all export a spreadsheet into a CSV format. And to make this even easier, we've actually included, with the example project, an example data file for you to use as a base when you're creating your own charts. So that's a quick walkthrough of how to use the chart stack from NimbleHost. Again, the process is quite easy. After you install it and restart RapidWeaver, you'll go to the stack library and then drag and drop your stack onto the page. Then you'll want to make sure that you've added your data file to resources, and then that you specify the data file here in the configuration tab. Now there is a certain type of chart called a meter gauge where a data file is not required. And the reason why it's not required is because you can configure all the information it needs from within the options in the meter gauge chart options section here. However, if you do specify a data file when using a meter gauge chart, the chart stack will use the data file. So again, in most cases, you'll need to use the data file. The only case when you would not is when you're using a meter gauge type of chart. And just to show you what that looks like, this is an example of the meter gauge chart. And of course, in options, you can do things like remove this border so that we have just the meter gauge. So I hope that helps you get a good idea of how to use the chart stack from NimbleHost, and happy weaving.